Night on the Black Channel. One of the key symptoms of end-stage white supremacy is futile, desperate attempts at trolling. This is what the once mighty Aryan white supremacist empire has been reduced to. Case in point, Troller-in-Chief Donald the Joke Trump, his Injustice Department, is seeking to dismiss charges against two of the officers accused of falsifying the warrant that led to Breonna Taylor's killing. I'm going over this because I want to highlight something to you all. There is no reason when you have individuals who start splaining for white supremacy, splaining for these other things here, there is no excuse. And there's no justification for taking it easy on white supremacy whatsoever. They are not naive. None of them are naive. No one who defends this kind of behavior is naive, unknowing, ignorant, doesn't have all the facts. If we can just talk to them, get them some more information, get them some more details. That's not the issue. The issue is they are engaged in a race war. That's what you have to understand and accept. They are engaged in a race war. And whether it is little petty smarmy tactics or large ones, the bottom line is everything that they do is an effort to promote their race war effort. They saw all the same videos you did. They are arguing for a race war. It doesn't matter what happened to you. If all they need to know is, was the victim black? Yes, die. Justified. There isn't anything that can happen to you that is unjustified. Nothing. So they have you arguing against logic and reality as if they don't understand. They understand everything. Malcolm X said that. You cannot, he knows exactly what he's doing. As long as they've been doing it, they're experts at it. They know exactly what they're doing. There's 0% chance that they are unknowing. No possibility whatsoever. From the Associated Press, I want to go ahead and deal with this right quick here with you here. So the feds moved to dismiss charges against the officers accused of falsifying a warrant in the Breonna Taylor case. By the way, where is Megan Ku Klux Kelly? Damn! Megan Ku Klux Kelly claims to be concerned. Although she's only concerned about white women, well, with Breonna Taylor, this is injustice. You want to talk about a court system letting the perpetrators and killers off? Where's Megan Ku Klux Kelly? Where's Ben the Bonehead Shapiro? Where's Matt White Supremacist Walsh? Where's Tucker the Sucker Carlson? Allegedly so concerned about injustice from the court system, leaving people in physical danger to be killed. Where are they? Of course, they are on the side of the killers. They are weak. They are pathetic. In Megyn Kelly's case, outrageously, anorexically frail. And they are too pathetic to do anything themselves, so they are the cheerleaders and the apologists for the white supremacist race war. The article says here that Dateline, Louisville, Kentucky, federal prosecutors asked a judge Friday to dismiss the charges against two Louisville officers accused of falsifying the warrant that led police to raid Breonna Taylor's apartment the night she was killed 6 years ago. Now, this is the same Donald Trump who's sitting up here saying that he's glad that former FBI Director Robert Mueller is dead because he used the law to hurt a bunch of people. White supremacists are always the predators. And then, of course, running around saying, I'm the victim while I'm over here brutalizing you. Can't you see I'm the victim? Well, you're victimizing me by not letting me brutalize you. You're victimizing me by not allowing me to kill you. I am a victim of your efforts to stop me from killing you. This is the only injustice. You stopping me from committing injustice against you. That's the injustice. And it sounds comical until you realize, oh, they're serious. No. I'm supposed to be executing injustice against you. The only injustice is if something stops me. Prosecutors said in the court filing that their review of the case showed the charges against former Detective Joshua James and former Sergeant Kyle Meany should be, quote, dismissed in the interest of justice. It's unclear when the judge might rule on the request. A hearing is scheduled for April 3rd. Judges have twice reduced a felony charge against each officer to a misdemeanor, saying there wasn't a direct link between the false information in the warrant and Taylor's death. Did you see that? Well, just because they lied to get a warrant to enter her home and they killed her after they entered her home, just because they lied to get the warrant that they used to enter her home to kill her, that you call that a connection? You people are silly. Connection? You say that's connected? You folks are just reaching. You're just reaching. You lied to get a warrant to bust into her home, and you killed her to get into the home. But there's no connection between the warrant lying to get in the home. There's no connection to that. Because we're white, and we say so, then you're in a system of white supremacy. Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Why are you still talking about these Epstein files? Why are you still talking about these Epstein files? Why does that still concern you? I mean, yeah, we got 6 million documents and dozens of victims and witnesses and photographs and bank records. By the way, nobody's prosecuting behind the bank records. Yeah, but that's not an issue. You people, that's the problem right there. You're focusing on the wrong things. You're still talking about that. Prosecutors said after the second ruling that they had decided to drop the cases. We are elated with this development, said Travis Locke, an attorney for James. I need y'all to understand here, these folks never do this when you show up. They're never eager to drop charges against you. They're never eager to drop any charges against you if you fight the charges. Why, they take it all the way to the Supreme Court, remember? See, if you don't take the plea deal, remember, this is how they operate. If you don't take the plea deal, why, they push this damn thing all the way to the Supreme Court. They don't drop anything. If you fight the charges, am I telling the truth? If I am, give me the scales of justice in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's almost 2,000 people in here live. If I'm telling the truth right now, give me the scales of justice and hit the likes button for me. You fight the charges and the prosecutor, okay, well, you can take this plea deal or we gonna drop the whole courtroom on you if you fight the charges. All right. Meany's lawyer, Michael Denbo, said he is, quote, incredibly grateful for today's filing. Meany, quote, is looking forward to putting this matter behind him and moving forward with his life. You mean making more false warrants on people? You mean to get on with his life making more false warrants because, of course, he'll want to be a police officer somewhere else. He wants to get on with his life of making false warrants. Taylor, 26 years old, was shot to death by police when they broke down the door of her apartment while serving a no-knock drug warrant looking for a former boyfriend who was no longer there. But it doesn't matter who is there. They want the warrant, and they are going to execute white supremacy against whoever is there. Because you're all guilty. As Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire said to Megyn Kelly, you're all guilty. Why, it's your culture. Why, anything we do against you is justified because you're all guilty. So therefore, no crime can ever be committed against you because you are all guilty by definition. Taylor's boyfriend at the time fired at the officers. The First Amendment protected by the Second, and the Second Amendment that protects all of the others against tyranny, just as the Founding Fathers envisioned. This was the Second Amendment protecting American citizens against government tyranny. Exactly the way the founders intended. God bless America. Unfortunately, Breonna was the one who died. And that's the only real problem there, is that she was the one who died. The March 13, 2020 death of Taylor, who was black, and local anger over Louisville's handling of the case gained widespread attention during the wave of racial justice protests sparked by the police murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis that May. 6 years on, activists continue to point to Taylor's killing as an example of the systemic injustice black women face. Okay. What the hell? All right, so the Associated Press, of course, doing their usual nonsense. Federal prosecutors under former President Joe Biden pressed charges against the officers. So what does this tell you? This tells you that his attorneys have been trying to stall for time. Under President Donald Trump, though, the Department of Justice asked that Brett Hankinson, the only officer serving prison time related to Taylor's killing, be let out of prison while he appeals his conviction. So once again, pathetic and pettiness of white supremacy. You don't have any real wins, so you're basically relegated to trolling is basically what you're relegated to. This is the best you can come up with. You used to be mighty, you used to be strong, and now this is all you can really do. Pathetic. The article goes on to say Taylor's mother, Tamika Palmer, said in a Facebook post that she is extremely disappointed in Trump's Justice Department. Quote, their phone call today informing me that charges against the police are being dropped while implying they have helped me is utterly disrespectful, Palmer wrote. This is the first time I've heard from them since they took over, and it's clear they have not served me or Breonna well. Friday's decision was an insult to everyone who fought for Taylor and shows her life is not valued by the current administration, said Democratic U.S. Representative Morgan McGarvey, who represents much of Louisville. Quote, my heart is heavy for Breonna's loved ones. This is not justice, McGarvey posted on social media. No, you're absolutely correct. That is not justice. You are quite correct. That is not justice. Not at all. But you are in a system of injustice, which is the entire point. By the way, if you all would like to direct your eyes to your screens here for just a moment here, this is Representative Morgan McGarvey. Representative Morgan McGarvey. This is Representative Morgan McGarvey. Where is the Congressional Black Caucus? Now, I can see who's standing up for Breonna Taylor, and I'm just looking around. By the way, did the Congressional Black Caucus get kidnapped? Okay. All right. Okay. So this is just a rerun of the Barack Obama years, basically. Rerun of the Barack Obama years is basically what it is. Do not be deceived. It says here that the federal judge sentenced Hankinson to 2 years and 9 months in prison and 3 years of supervised release for blindly firing 10 shots into Taylor's window on the night she was killed. None of the shots hit anyone. Now, folks, if you did that around police, you would be in jail for life. So, okay. And Tucker Carlson would be condemning the police. Tucker Carlson would be attacking and condemning the police. I need you all to understand that the white supremacist prepubescent erectile dysfunction wing of society, with their squeaky, nasalated voices, screeching and squealing into the wilderness, please understand, the little kids who got pantsed and punked in school, they've gone to the internet and they got jobs on Fox News, and basically they're just basically pathetic incels saying reprehensible things and making a fool of themselves in the process. They weren't even smart enough not to do this. Neither of the two officers who did shoot Taylor were charged after prosecutors deemed they were justified in returning fire into the apartment. People, all you need to know about the Breonna Taylor case is that the search warrant was done under false pretenses. They lied to get their search warrant, as they often do. And of course, you have a bunch of folk coming to defend it, because they're not defending the search warrant. They're defending white supremacy. If you hold an uprising at a police station, you are BLM and this is wrong and we should have shot everybody. But if you're a bunch of white MAGAs storming the very capital of the United States, the heart of Western democracy, why, you're heroes. This is not about, quote, evidence. This is about white supremacy. All these other things are just the pretenses that they use to justify it. That's all. The article goes on here to say, for those of you who are unaware, police found no drugs, no cash inside Taylor's apartment. They lied to get in there under the white supremacist assumption all these niggas is guilty. Don't worry, once we get in there, we'll find something to justify this bogus warrant and the raid. Don't worry, slam dunk. We've done this a bunch of times. Understand, some people, you don't do something like this if you haven't done this a bunch of times before. This is just like the career criminals that they are. This was not their first time doing something like this. This is just the first time they got caught and it went this bad. But this is not, you don't do something like this your first time out. You all remember the movie Training Day? You all remember the film Training Day. You don't sit up here and do this your first time at bat. No, this is your career. This is your job. This is what you do. You've done this a bunch of times. You've done this a lot of times. That's what you're looking for. So they told themselves, don't worry, we've done this a bunch of times. Eat your damn donut, rookie. Get on up in here and eat your damn donut, rookie. We're going out here to pin another one on them. Hey, hey, hey. This was just the first time that it went wrong. Just recognize what that really means. This is what a race war looks like, people. Not Hitler's pogroms where they gather you all up. It's urban, street-side warfare, ambush killings anywhere and everywhere they can get you. Lawyers for Taylor's family said the warrant needs heavy legal scrutiny because without it, police never go to her door and the shooting never happens. That's not judicial reasoning, people. That's simple logic. They remain angry and heartbroken. Almost no one faced punishment in the shootings, attorneys Ben Crump and Lanita Baker said in a statement. You are in a system of white supremacy, and they are going to remind you from time to time here. They're going to remind you from time to time that the race war is on. Please remember, it was Donald Trump's election that led me to my first time of making my first documentary, Race War. The last documentary I did, the second to last I did, Race War. It was Donald Trump that did that prompted that. It was Donald Trump that prompted that then. Because I saw what was happening then, and I have to remind everyone what it means, what it really means. I have to remind you that what it really means is that this is a reminder to everyone. You see, because if white supremacy does lift the boot off the neck, you know a bunch of folk gonna go right back to sleep if they do take the boot off the neck. So they have to remind you how inhuman and subhuman that they are. They are the bad guys. And if they don't remind you of this, you're going to forget and go back to sleep and go back to dancing and bull jiving. And they're going to go back to doing what they do. Rampant blatant injustice. They're going to go back to doing what they do. But I didn't host this program here tonight because they are the only ones. I did this tonight because, they are one among several. With some facts coming to light here. With some facts coming to light here, folks. Because understand something, there's a reason that the Ben Shapiros and them are very, very angry about the George Floyd uprisings. Because it stopped the bad guys in their tracks, but it also exposed a lot of things that they could no longer argue against, and now they just have to argue for full-throated white supremacy. Case in point, this story coming to us out of Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, man. Now, what does this say? The Phoenix Police Department will not discipline any officers for their roles in a massive city scandal where officials, you mean the police, invented a fake gang and then falsely charged protesters for being members of this fake gang back in 2020. Now, as you know, in the new black media, we've talked about this forever. Every time you turn around, they claim you're a member of a gang. They did that just now in Venezuela to Maduro. Oh, he's a member of a cartel. Oh, you're a member of the Purple Shoe Crips. You're a member of the Kool-Aid Crips. Hey, y'all, there's a gang here in town. The Strawberry Street Bloods. Yeah, they wear black pants and black shirts and baseball caps. Sir, that's 90% of the population. And white sneakers. Okay, that's 94% of the population. So, yeah, they make up names and, there's a gang here. The Android Samsung 22 Crips. Just understand, we've been tracking them for a while. This is the uniform. We are experts, our gang expert in the police department. Trust our gang expert over here. How long they've been around? Details are sketchy, but for those of us who work the streets, we know. Yeah, this is literally what's happening. . Literally what happened. From the files here at ABC, Channel 15 in Arizona. The scandal largely began following the arrest of a group of 17 protesters in October 2020. The Phoenix Police Department will not discipline any officers for their roles in the massive city scandal where officials invented a fake gang and then falsely charged protesters as members back in 2020. By the way, where is CNN and the rest of them in Google to say that all this is fake and to flood the zone and flood social media with these things so it's in front of people, because we wouldn't want to spread false information, would we? Hey, Twitter and Google, we wouldn't want to spread false information, would we? So shouldn't you be forcing everything on your websites to highlight this? That these people were lying? In a press release, the department wrote that 6 officers were internally investigated. Oh, you mean they investigated themselves? Hey, everybody, good news. The police are going to investigate themselves for police misconduct. Yeah, you don't get to investigate yourself if you commit a crime or an offense. You don't get to investigate yourself. Hey, everyone, the police have investigated themselves for making up for this scandal, and the police have decided that everything's fine. This is the police department you have walking out there now. They've gone beyond we gave them a slap on the wrist. They're just saying, hey, we're back to 1974 New York NYPD. You know, in New York City, you don't really have Hell's Kitchen anymore. I think they call it Chelsea now, with some of the most expensive housing in New York City. Well, that's where Daredevil, Matt Murdock, he's supposed to be in Hell's Kitchen. Okay. Well, that was back from the 70s. I mean, that had legitimacy back in the 70s. And here you have Phoenix, Arizona saying, don't worry, we're bringing back Hell's Kitchen and all the police corruption along with it. If this is what the police are doing to citizens, y'all know full well they grabbing drugs, they're grabbing money. It's the full gang-related training day. The whole American Gangster, the whole 9 yards. It's the full corrupt police. You know full well they're pulling folk over, taking money, taking drugs, running whores. Join the Phoenix Police Department, where it's legal to sell the drugs and run the whores. In a press release, the department wrote that 6 officers were internally investigated, with Chief Matt Giordano ultimately determining that 3 violated policy. Okay, they didn't violate your rights, they violated policy. However, sources tell ABC 15 all 3 officers who violated policy are now retired and can't be disciplined. One of the key officials involved in the gang charges was Sergeant Doug McBride. Boy, these names, Giordano, McBride. Giordano and McBride. So, I mean, 1970s New York corruption and the police officer Sergeant Kelly. Sergeant Kelly and McWilliams. Sergeant Kelly and McPherson. Sergeant McGregor and Sergeant DeVito. Sergeant Colombo. I mean, this is straight out of 1970s New York. Straight out of it, people. They didn't even change ethnicities. They all, hey, remember, where did the mafia go? Hey, I'm not even joking right now, y'all. Hey, where did the mafia go? Starting in the 1960s and 70s. Where did the mafia go, y'all? They went to the desert, remember? Yeah. Where did they all go? Did they all disappear? You thought we broke the Ku Klux Klan? They all just disappeared? Hell no. They took up stakes somewhere else. So you're looking for them in the Northeast, and they're like, man, look here, we got the West sewn up. We got the West sewn up. One of the key officials involved in the gang charges was Sergeant Doug McBride, who was the officer who misled a grand jury to secure the indictment records show. The court calls his testimony egregious. Oh, clutching our pearls. Why, this was just an officer of the law, and we here in the court, we are outraged. Now, these are the same courts that put George Floyd Mayweather Jr. in jail for playing with his attorney in court and joking around with him. But they're telling, well, you know, there's nothing we can do. I mean, he lied under oath. He lied to a grand jury. You know, gosh darn it, there's nothing we can do about lying to a grand jury. Hey, Diddy, get your ass back in that cell, Diddy. Get back in that cell, Diddy. We don't play around out here. Oh, we can't do anything over here. Damn it, we missed our window, missed our chance. Oh, well. McBride retired in December of 2025, people, 3 months ago. So just in case you think that this was years ago that the rats jumped ship, hey, y'all, they've been sitting on this the whole damn time since 2020. I just told you in the Breonna Taylor case, they've been just stalling for time. They've been sitting on this since 2020. And 90 days ago here he retired just 90 days ago. Before the internal investigation was completed, so y'all know what happened. Oh, man. Hey, who you calling, Lieutenant Murphy? Gotta call McBride right quick. Let me call McBride. McBride speaking. Top of the morning to you, McBride. Hey, Murphy. Looks like we're going to have to do something about this here, but we stalled them for the last 5 years. We stalled them for 5 years so that you could get your pension. Yeah, we stalled for 5 years. You can go ahead and retire now. Thank you there, Lieutenant. Appreciate that. It's up to you boys now to keep the streets safe. I'll be taking my pension here and moving to the San Fernando Valley after a lifetime of crime and corruption. He now collects a $98,000 annual pension. They violated your constitutional rights, and now he's going to draw a pension for doing so, as the police department and the corrupt courts have run interference and stalled for the last 5 years, which means they weren't going to do anything now either. They were just waiting for these guys to retire, waited 5 years, and after they retire, okay, well, we'll just pin this on them now that we've made sure they are safely protected. The scandal largely began following the arrest of a group of 17 protesters on October 21st, 2020. In the days after the arrest, Phoenix officers and county prosecutors colluded. Phoenix officers and county prosecutors colluded to invent a gang and then falsely charge the protesters as members. The city and county stood by the charges until February 2021, when ABC 15 launched its politically charged investigation. The new series exposed how Phoenix police and county prosecutors lied to a grand jury to obtain the gang charges and testified that the protesters were comparable to the Bloods, Crips, and Hells Angels, according to a confidential transcript obtained by ABC 15. So when you see these white supremacists online talking about Antifa, the white supremacists online, the Matt Walshes and Benny, the short bus Shapiro, they do that there because that's their attempt to replicate this kind of thing. There is no Antifa. There is no registry of Antifa. There is no Antifa registration or house that you go to sign up for Antifa. There is no Antifa. There is a MAGA. There is no Antifa. They just say, oh, you're Antifa. What the hell is that? You're a member of Antifa. Says who? Says me. But there is no Antifa biker house. There is no Antifa flop house or safe house where they all gather. There are no weekly meetings. There is no email list. No, it's you're Antifa. We say you're Antifa. So they invented the gang, and then they say you're a member of our fictitious gang that we invented. As a direct result of ABC 15's investigation, more than 40 felony protest cases were dismissed. Okay, why were they not felonies against the police? I am slightly less concerned about the ones that were dismissed and much more concerned about the ones that were not filed. The city and county admitted to widespread failures with the arrests, and the lead prosecutor was suspended from practicing law for at least 2 years and might never practice again. Now, ain't this amazing, y'all? Now, if you're black and you have a violation of ethics as an attorney, Attorney Alton Maddox, I knew the late Attorney Alton Maddox. By the way, now, if you're black, oh, nigga, you ain't never getting a law license again. And you're not a prosecutor. Hey, Mike Nifong, out there in North Carolina? Remember Mike Nifong? Oh, he didn't get the suspended for 2 years treatment. F. Lee Bailey. Folks, y'all don't want me to sit here and do this all night. If you are black or you are accused of helping black people, oh, you can kiss that license goodbye. And we're going to make sure it sticks. However, here, he's committed felonies. This is a prosecutor who committed felonies, and we suspend your license for 24 months. But come back and speak to us then when we think that nobody's watching. Once we think that everybody has stopped watching, then we'll see about sneaking you back in. Because they don't get fired, they get transferred. But we'll see about sneaking you back in. These are straight up felonies that they committed. And their buddies in the white supremacist court system, I don't see no issue. A large collection of the falsely charged protesters also joined to file a lawsuit against the City of Phoenix and the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. The county agreed to settle its half of the case last December for $6 million. That's taxpayer money. There's supposed to be people in jail, y'all. Damn a payout. Folks supposed to be in jail. After the large, y'all remember Kwame Kilpatrick. And by the way, once again, if this is what the police and the prosecutor did here, you know they've been doing this for years. This is not an isolated incident. They've been doing this for years. After the large settlement, not large enough, most of the protesters dropped out of the case. Not really. I want y'all to understand that's not really the way it works. Unfortunately, that's not really the way it works. What happens is that these settlement sums, this is not offered to the plaintiffs. This is offered to the attorneys. So the way that the cities and the states play the game is basically they make a multi-million-dollar offer and your attorneys are like, okay, well, let me go ahead and cash out this check because Most of the attorneys are not interested in justice. They're interested in cash and a check because they are in business, not in justice. So they offer a few million, and then the lawyers are like, okay, we've spent enough time on this case. Y'all need to go ahead and take this offer, or I'm going to drop out of the case as your attorney. What? So I need you all to understand that that's the way that this really works. Anybody who's ever had to deal with attorneys with settlements, whether it's personal injury or whatever, you understand this is the way that works. Y'all need to go ahead and take the settlement, or we're going to back out of the case. We think this is a fair offer, and it's time to go ahead and close this out because I got a beach house in Maui that I want to go buy. So y'all need to go ahead and cash this out so I can get my $2 million. It's $6 million. Okay, I get 2. Y'all get the other 4. And yeah, y'all need to go ahead and cash on out because I'm going to drop the case. I ain't going to just sit here forever. We've been here long enough. He's done about 5 hours of work on your case. Yeah, he's done about 5 hours of work. After the large settlement, most of the protesters dropped out of the case. For the remaining claims against Phoenix, 2 people now remain in the lawsuit, Ryder Collins and Bruce Franks Jr. This is Giordano here. I mean, straight out of Central Casting. Could this guy look more corrupt? People, if you were casting LA Confidential, he looks like the corrupt lieutenant there in LA Confidential. I mean, if you were making, somebody said, Better Call Saul. Damn! I mean, this guy is straight out of Central Casting. I mean, he looks like every corrupt cop in every movie you've seen for the last 6 decades. Yeah, nothing suspicious going on here. Meanwhile, check this out, everyone. The Phoenix Police Sergeants and Lieutenants Association expressed disappointment in the internal investigation's outcome.
Nigga, what?
Quote, we do not believe Sergeant McBride violated our policies, and we will be responding to this report in due time. President Ben Lochner said, so yeah, folks, I mean, right out of the Gambino crime family. This is the so-called Phoenix Police Department, straight out of the Gambino crime family, with no changes made, right out of it. Well, yeah, I mean, they lied, fabricated the gang, we found the evidence, and we don't think that's a violation of policies. So you think that this is police work? The police union is telling you that fabricating evidence is police work. That's what they're telling you. This is police work. This is doing our job as the police. Fabricating evidence. That is our job. You being guilty. No. You're here to be convicted. It doesn't matter if you're guilty. We brought you here to be convicted because this is what we do. We're white, and we say so. Quote, policy violations that impact people's rights and trust in government are serious and must be addressed, City Councilwoman Ann O'Brien said in an email to ABC 15. She added, since 2020, the city had strengthened training and increased transparency. So she's basically part of the cover-up. We need to train the white supremacists better. We've implemented new training for our corrupt white supremacist police officers. Don't you see? Well, since then, we've created new training. Yeah, your new training just said that everything was okay. You all see the title. This is what their new training says. Well, no officers will be disciplined. That's what their, quote, new training did. Mass Liberation AZ, which promotes investing in community solutions instead of police, said the report is, quote, a part of a long, coordinated process built on deliberate delay, deflection, and institutional self-protection. Prior to the release of the internal investigation report, ABC 15 interviewed one of the protesters from 2020, Marissa Leva, questioned whether Phoenix police could hold its officers accountable. Quote, it's up to the community to organize and force change. Damn right. The only reason there was an investigation in this in the first place was because of ABC 15's reporting and community organizations like Mass Lib. Okay. So it's white supremacy 101. And these are their petty, pathetic attempts at basically legal trolling, but also instituting authoritarian law to say you have no rights. We have spent the better part of the last 2 decades warning the dominant society that your government is cutting its teeth and honing its skills at mass surveillance, mass incarceration, and mass oppression. That's what they've cut their teeth at. You sat back and cheered them on and snickered behind the scenes when you saw them doing this to us. Because you said, well, the police are victimizing all the right people. Now they've gained, now that you've given them these powers, they got a taste for you. Now that you've given them these powers, they got a taste for you now. Now you want to scream and yell. Okay, but when you could have stopped them in the first damn place when you saw them coming at us, they never would have gotten this far along. You see, back then they were small and lowly and weak. You've allowed them to get big and fat and strong. And now you want to start screaming that we need to roll it backwards and we need to undo this. Now that you've empowered them. This is what they're reduced to: pathetic trolling, baiting, other assorted nonsense. This is what they're reduced to. However, you might disagree. Therefore, we've gone ahead and pinned the link to the Zoom at the top of the chat room there. And you are more than welcome to go ahead and give us a call. If you've been instructed by my mods to call in, it's not just a great idea, that's an order. In the meantime, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out to Karen, the only Karen that we actually like. Thank you very much for your support, sister. We appreciate that here. Also to my man Keenan. Thank you for your support, brother. To Mr. Richburg, as always. The Naughty Bear, FBA Justice, B-Rain, Wash, and everyone else who has contributed for tonight's program. Thank you very much for your support here. We appreciate that as well. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, there is more white supremacist foolery for us to cover, folks. Do not miss it. This is the Black Channel.
Be the teacher, knowledge on the block. Got the kids learning, minds open like a lock. Books and skills from the east to the west. Bringing education, yeah, we're simply the best. Classes on fire, brains burning with desire. Innovation driving like a tire through the mire. Math, science, history, we got the whole range. Kids hitting new heights, teachers making a change. Used to be the teacher, stacking up the grades. Future bright shining, no need for no shades. Got the youth thriving, moving up the ladder. Smart and sharp, brains growing fatter. Lessons so lit, yeah, they stay in a blaze. Every mind sharp like a sword in the haze. Mr. B in the house breaking knowledge chains. Education kingpin, we ripping the gains. Mr. B the teacher.
order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And on top of other foolishness and general wackiness going on out here, some folks just don't learn. Remember when I told you all? Remember, I said this to everyone. I don't bring this stuff up later. I don't Monday morning quarterback. I'm Thursday night playing. I mean, whatever night of the week the NFL is on. I'm playing but the game before they even have a game. I'm doing that. I'm doing that right there. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that part. And so I do this because I want folks to understand something here. You have to be ahead of the curve. You have to be ahead of the curve. It is simply not enough to be up to date. It's not enough. Case in point here, just in case you were not aware, I just want to remind you here, I'm not going to belabor the issue too much. I won't. But just to remind you, Vivek Ramaswamy, he thinks he's running for governor of Ohio. He thinks he is. Nobody else thinks he is. He thinks he is. Well, as you can all see here, the latest news out of Ohio. Election forecasters boost Amy Acton's odds of winning the Ohio governor's race. So, did I call it or did I call it? He's not running for governor. He just thinks he is. Ron DeSantis, you're not running for president, Ron. You just think you are. Kamala Harris, you're not running for president either, baby. You just think you are. Okay, let's stop the bull jive. Now, when Trump got reelected, everybody was saying Vivek gonna win this in Ohio. I was the only person in the media who put it up from the very beginning. He's not. He just thinks he is. No. Jason, he's ahead in the polls. Trump is heavy. Trump is popular. He took Ohio. J.D. Vance. I'm sitting there the whole time telling people, no. Jason, you're going to be wrong. So let's not start the bull jive here. There was only one voice saying from the very beginning, before he even left the White House, he thinks he's going to run for governor of Ohio. I said that before he even left the White House. Oh, when he was with Elon Musk with their dingy doggy Doge. He thinks he's gonna get his name recognition at the White House and then go run for governor of Ohio. He left the White House to go run for governor of Ohio. I called it. And I said, yeah, he's running for governor. At least he thinks he is. He really isn't, but he just thinks he is. Yeah. Gavin Newsom thinks he's running for president of the United States too. By the way, there's a whole bunch of folk who think they're running for offices that they're not actually running for. They just think they are. And then there are some faithful dead enders out there. So, folks, I'm telling you right now, I called this before too. He has been waiting in the wings, and he has been waiting for Trump to get sufficiently weakened, which is why he's schmoozing up to the Israeli lobby down there in Florida. Your good buddy Ron the Satan DeSantis, and you want to talk about a guy with Epstein baggage? What? Ron DeSantis, buddy, you might not be in the Epstein files, but you should be because of them photographs out there, remember? Yet Ron DeSantis don't mind going to a frat party with some minor girls. Yet Ron, you don't, in the Epstein era, you ain't the one. Ron, you don't want to have to face these questions during the Epstein era. You don't want to, Ron, it's not going to be as sweet as you think it's going to be, Ron. And Trump is dragging this damn thing out, so your opponents are ready for you. As I said, you're not actually running. You just think you are. Can you all imagine the answers he's going to give? Can you all imagine when they start interviewing the girls who are now grown women? What? Damn! Damn! By the way, folks, when they start going around and interviewing them, I wonder. Yes, sir. Flora Lolita. Not Florida, Flora Lolita. So in any case, and the Spider Coulter. Damn! If only we could wave a wand and make him president. Dated today. Ron DeSantis calls to abolish the TSA. Okay, folks. Let me remind you all of a few things. I need to remind you all of a few things. When government runs properly, it can be a huge benefit. The reason that you have a federal government is so that just in case the states are doing a bunch of wacky things, you have a parent in the room who makes rules that are uniform across the board. If you turn over airport security to each of the individual airports, then you'll have thousands of individual rules. And what history has taught us is that in many of these cases, you can't trust them to be uniform. I was watching a story earlier today about that. I was watching a story earlier today that demonstrated that. Remember the shoe bomber Richard Reed? There's a reason why they want you to take your shoes off going through the scanner, because you can get all kinds of things into your shoes and the scanners won't be able to pick it up. You can put explosives, chemical substances in your shoes and the scanners won't be able to pick it up. So there's a reason they want your shoes off. Man, y'all stop this bull jive. Just let me on my flight. Okay, well, unless you're on one of the flights that the bomb goes off on, you're in such a hurry to make it to the scene of the crash? I'm in a hurry. Let me on this plane. Okay, he's in a hurry to make it to the scene of the bombing. He's in a hurry to make it to the scene of the fatality. Get this thing in the air so we can blow up. Really, man? So yes, all of us consider it to be an inconvenience, and I don't even fly anymore because I've gone beyond inconvenience. What they do to me at TSA is beyond inconvenience. It's just outright persecution now. But by the way, for the rest of you, there's a reason you have TSA. Okay, let me try this a different way. How many of you would like to turn over the rules for your safety at the airport to Bubba Gump in Biloxi, Mississippi, and leave it up to him, fresh from the Confederate flag fish fry? What? As he comes in at 400 pounds with his pot belly. All right, we're at the airport here. Well, my man Jimmy Jack over here, he wants to move it a little bit faster. All right, so we're going to change some of these rules and lines through here so we can go ahead and keep moving. Yeah, this is unnecessary. Y'all can trust me. I'm white. You take a look at some of the streets you have, some of the highways you have. You take a look at some of the goofy, wacky stuff that goes on there, and you're going to put him in charge of your airport rules to decide how safe you are. He's going to be the one who decides that you're safe enough. Why you gotta take off your shoes here? I don't like taking off my shoes. Probably because your socks look like tar, sir. I don't want to take off my shoes. Let me on the plane here. I need to get back to my Ford F-350. And he's the guy saying, oh, it's okay. We're safe enough. We're safe enough. You're safe enough. Y'all are overdoing it. We can back off on them. We can back off on these regulations here. Y'all is overdoing it. Okay. Right. But what this does nakedly expose is that Ann Coulter, somebody got the memo. Mark my words. Somebody got the memo under the table, and I'm telling y'all right now, mark my words, you're gonna start seeing a bunch of the disaffected MAGAs start rallying behind DeSantis now. They're gonna do it right in Trump's face now because they think he's weak, and he is. They think he's weak and getting weakened. So Ron DeSantis will not have to overtly confront Trump. He's gathering resources and followers here. He's letting them start the whispering campaign. He's letting them start it. You go down to the comments section, this ain't going over so well. You go down to the comments section, this isn't going so well, and this ain't the flex you tell yourself it is. Hey, y'all, I'm not the only one. Yeah, I'm not the only one. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, and it's going to be rough on you, ma'am. It's going to be rough. He would be doing the exact same thing, maybe worse, if that's possible. Tell me one Trump policy that Ron DeSantis, at his core, disagrees with. Name one thing that Ann Coulter is unhappy about Trump doing that Ron DeSantis is vehemently opposed to doing. That he is diametrically opposed to, structurally in contradiction of. Name one that Ron DeSantis doesn't agree with. In the chat room, CSRXC6U needs to give me a call up on Zoom. You got 2 minutes? CSRX6U needs to give me a call up on Zoom. You got 2 minutes. So I want you all to understand there, if you're going to start trying to launch people here, this is an attempt by the grassroots. It's an attempt by the grassroots to start a whispering campaign for DeSantis to see if they can go ahead and get him launched. They want to see if they can get DeSantis launched and see if we can get some credibility behind him. That's what you're seeing right now. So you're starting to see how things are shaping up is what I'm telling you. Remember, these MAGA nuts they're playing their cards close to the vest. They're playing it close to the vest because they're all scared. They all want to be able to co-opt Trump's movement. They want to co-opt Trump's followers, but to ascend to the leadership of the cult, you see, you have to do a David Miscavige. When David Miscavige took over the Church of Scientology, after L. Ron Hubbard, if you're going to pull something like that, you got to ease in there. You got to ease in there if you're going to do that. You can't just jump up and do something like that. You got to ease in there. And so DeSantis has obviously talked to some folks here and said, okay, let's keep this low key. Let's keep this on the low, and we're going to ease this talk of me. You're not going to pit me against Trump. You're just going to say, boy, wouldn't he be great for president? So DeSantis isn't mentioning himself as president now. Why, now this AstroTurf is supposed to look organic. Why, I wasn't the one asking for me to be president. I wasn't the one clamoring for me to be president. Why, but there are a lot of disaffected MAGA people. They're the ones who want me to be president. They're the ones who want it, not me. I just sat back and I hear your cries. Well, I tried it before. I'm down here in Florida, but I might look into it. We'll see. I might look into it. And that's the game that's being played now, folks. The game that's being played now is to float his name out there. People in social media with large followings. So mark my words. You're going to start seeing all of the ex-MAGA people. You're going to start seeing a bunch of them starting to sit up here and gather and rally behind DeSantis. Especially as Gavin Newsom spins his wheels attempting to get traction. They're going to start floating DeSantis as the anti-Newsom. Watch for that one too. Oh, DeSantis, he's the only one who can beat Gavin Newsom.
Oh, please.
Watch for that one. Remember Joe Biden. I'm the only one who can beat Trump. Ron DeSantis, he's the only one who can beat Newsom. We need DeSantis turned Florida more red. No, the Democrats turned Florida more red. He'll do the same thing nationally. We need to get behind DeSantis. So mark my words. If you want to see what's coming real early here, mark my words, that'll be happening. As a matter of fact, this actually increases the odds and increases the likelihood of Trump invading and overthrowing the Cuban government. This increases the odds of that because Trump would want to strengthen Marco Rubio's credentials. So knocking off Cuba would make it a lot easier to split Florida, at least southern Florida, for Marco Rubio. It would give him something to run on in 2028. It would give him something to run on. Right now, DeSantis is going to have to sit up here and gear up to run against Trump's track record. That's going to be hella hard to do when you were one of the keynote speakers at his convention for his reelection. That's going to be kind of hard to do, Ronnie, because, I mean, he's got you all the way up in there, dude. And you've been running around Florida. You have been MAGA plus. So, yeah, it's going to be hard for you to assure people that you ain't going to be like Trump when you spend all this time convincing people that you are Trump Jr. That's going to be rough. In the chat room, William, you are wrong about that one. I don't know where you came up with that nonsense, but Cuba can't even keep the lights on right now. No, Cuba's the one that goes down easier. You already have a bunch of malcontents. The CIA has been crawling all over Cuba for decades. Yeah, I mean, what's the artillery that Cuba is going to defend itself with? Bruh, it's just, I guess he's being sarcastic, or that's satire. Show me the Cuban missiles. Show me the Cuban Navy. You might want to do a Google on that, my dude. I guess he got family down there. Cuba is going to whoop America's ass, boy. You don't know. It's okay. Are you talking about the same Cuba where the newest car that they have is the 1967 Impala?
What? Damn!
Do you mean that Cuba? Are you referring to that Cuba, sir? Y'all, apparently he thinks that Cuba has an air force. Apparently he was under the impression that Cuba has a robust air force. Am I going to tell him, or are y'all going to tell him about the car situation? Does he think that there's a Ford dealership in Cuba? A Toyota dealership? Y'all, are y'all going to tell him, or am I going to tell him? Yeah, y'all, he didn't get the memo. He thinks there's a Best Buy and a Walmart down there.
Nigga, what?
Yeah. Cuba gonna hold him off, man. See, America might get bogged down in Iran, but in Cuba, what you really got to worry about. All right. Man, don't y'all know what's gonna happen? They're gonna send the 182nd Airborne down there with Gloria Estefan.
What?
Do y'all think it's going to be anything? If Gloria Estefan comes walking up on Cuban shores, you know what's going to happen? Come on now. Some folks that didn't get the memo. There's a whole bunch of them down there. She stood up here and come cha-chaing up the sand. And don't you feel the passion? What was that? Did she do the music of my heart? Did Gloria Estefan do the music of my heart? You know, just y'all. You think that ain't gonna work? I'm just letting you all know right now. Do you think that Cuba is gonna do anything but show up and show out if Gloria Estefan come down there? You think they're going to do anything other than that? Okay, all right. They love it. All right. You're wrong, Jason. They love it down there. Everything great. The same Cuba that folks are riding on inner tubes to get out of? You mean that? Are you referring to that Cuba, sir? They love their inner tubes, Jason. They love their socialized health care, Jason. They ain't trying to get it up. Okay, all right. people, like I say, just somebody let him know. Do y'all know what would happen if somebody brought an Escalade down to Cuba?
Damn!
People, do you know what would happen if you brought a 2026 Mercedes S-Class down to Cuba next to all them antique S-Classes they got? They'd be like, this nigga's in a spaceship. Okay, if you accept democracy and capitalism, you can get an S-Class too. And he's like, the Cubans be like, no, you can take your S-Class back to Florida. We don't want that. Okay. All right. Yeah, y'all, can you imagine all those 1967 Mercedes they got down there? You come down there in a brand new S-Class, God forbid you come in a Maybach GLS 600. You come down there with that car jumping up and down and bouncing and all the features on it. And he's like, nope, Jason, they would not want that. They are not interested in your newfangled stuff and your newfangled environment. Nope, they are loyal. Okay. Anybody who's ever been to Southern Florida will testify about the loyalty of the Cubans. That's a nigga that ain't never talked to any of them. Anyone who has actually been to Southern Florida, those of you who live down in Southern Florida, I'm talking about all the way up to Hollywood, you all can testify about how loyal the Cubans are. Well, Jason, for every Cuban that's come to Florida, that's 4 that is still back in Cuba. Yeah, because he's explained to me why it is that of a family of 5 people, only one of them left Cuba to come to the U.S. Because he was the only one who could swim.
And deal with it.
He was the only one who could swim for the 90 miles on that inner tube. The rest of them was too old to make it. He was the only one healthy enough and spry enough to make that trip. That's why he's the only one here. The rest of them are like, damn, I wish I'd been doing some Tae Bo back when I was in my 30s. I could have made it with you. So this is what we dealing with, y'all. It's just, they don't know anything. This is what we're dealing with. All right. The global superpower of Cuba. Y'all just didn't get the memo. So yeah, y'all, they're out there trying to boost up DeSantis' name and, oh, you know, can you feel the rhythm here? And hey, MAGA, if you're upset with Trump is going to see this, by the way. Y'all do know that Trump is eventually going to come out with the knives on DeSantis. So just understand, hey Ron, you know Trump's people gonna hear about this, right? You know Trump's people gonna hear about this, right? You know his people gonna hear about it when they do. Oh, man. Trump gonna start tweeting about you. I mean, Trump's going to get 50 Cent petty on you. He's all of a sudden this little Ron DeSantis thinks he wants to. Ron, you have big shoes to fill to be president, and I don't think your feet are big enough. And y'all know Trump. He is just too brazen. Everybody's worried about the Epstein files. You know, Ron has been photographed with minors too. What? Don't y'all know Trump will say that? Trump will say that bigger than daylight. Think he won't when he will? Trump will sit right there and post up on Twitter, Truth Social, which, by the way, there's a lie of a name you ever saw. He will sit right there and say, you know, Ron DeSantis has some Epstein behavior. He's been photographed with drinking with minors. If you all are worried, I'm going to have Pam Bondi go back and look through the Epstein files and see if we find anything on Ron. Don't y'all know Donald will do it? Won't he do it? Yes, he will sit right there and go, and say that. With a comment section, they'll be like, wait a minute, ain't you the one covering for Epstein? He'll sit right there and do it. He'll sit right there and do it and won't give a damn. Did somebody say they expecting Russia to do something for Cuba? It's just, all right. I'm going to stop talking about Cuba because it's just going to get silly. Nobody came to help Venezuela. Nobody is really doing a lot for Iran except, they're slipping them some missiles under the table. Russia's providing some logistics. Ain't nobody sending no guns like that. And if they didn't send anything for Venezuela and they're sitting on the largest oil reserves, what the hell? You think they didn't do nothing for Venezuela, but they're going to do something for Cuba?
Boy, what in the hell's the matter with you?
So Russia and China just sat back and chilled as Trump steamrolled Venezuela and put a chokehold on the oil. But Russia didn't help Venezuela, Jason, but they're going to come help Cuba. You think they don't have enough salsa dip in Moscow? Do you think that's it? Well, Jason, Venezuela just got oil. You don't understand, Jason. Venezuela just got oil, but in Cuba, they got salsa. Remember Cecilia Cruz, Jason. Jason, you think about this wrong. Cuba is the cultural epicenter of the Americas. If that go down, everything, okay. So just forget the damn oil. All right. Fine. Jason, do you ever get tired of what you do? Yeah, nice like this. This right here that's exactly what does it. Right there. It's just Cuba is 90 miles from America, people. For those of you who don't live in Florida or never did the math of geography, Cuba is 90 miles from the coast of Florida. 90 miles. Most of you drive that in a week. A bunch of you drive it every day. 90 miles, an hour and a half. If they could build a bridge, it would be an hour and a half. That's how close Cuba is. No, Russia and nobody else is going to be 90 miles off the U.S. coast. That's what the Cuban Missile Crisis was all about, in case you didn't know. It was not about Castro. It was about Russia being 90 miles from America. 90 miles. Russia gonna come take Cuba. All right. 90 miles away. They're gonna be speaking Russian in Cuba down there. No. That's the problem, Jason. You ain't thinking broad enough here. It's gonna be rough. Okay, fine. So in any case, folks, it is a wacky, crazy world out there right now. Nonsense is happening. The white supremacists are flailing. They're attempting to recycle Ron DeSantis. Nothing says you don't have any answers like sitting up here suggesting Ron DeSantis. Tell me you have no answers for anything without telling me you have no answers. You're calling Ron DeSantis. And I'm just telling you all right now, as soon as he tries to run, them pictures going to come back up again. And that's all it's going to be about. That's all well, the pictures will not be enough because he may try to talk his way out of that. All it's going to take are two of them gals from them high schools to say that he did something with them. Just like they just did Cesar Chavez. Y'all, they just did it to Cesar Chavez. All it's going to take is two of them gals, not 50, just one or two. It has to be two to corroborate it. All it's going to take is two of them gals to say that Ron DeSantis used to invite us over to his house. I didn't go. Ron DeSantis used to hang out with us. Ron DeSantis asked to see me naked. All it's going to take is two of them gals. And it's over for him. Oh, look, the accusations don't have to be real. It doesn't have to be true. They already got photographs. It's like, okay, here, fight this. So, yeah, man. No, if MAGA, if you're going to get somebody, it's going to have to be somebody other than him. This ain't going to be the one. Not him. So, y'all thought it was bad before. Oh, 2028 going to be rough as hell. It's going to be rough as hell. So, Ann, you're flailing like a fish because she put up like more than one post about this. I think she put up more than one. It's like, okay, ma'am, you're getting desperate over there. You're getting desperate. This is not the flex you think it is. So, you can wish for it, but that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for Vivek either. Not going to happen for Kamala Harris. She's out there threatening to run for president still. That, she could make it in 2028. No, she cannot. So basically, the media is just putting up stories now to give views. Tucker Carlson is not going to run for president. He just made an off-the-cuff remark, and everybody, a bunch of idiots out there, tried to take it seriously. He just made an off-the-cuff remark trolling Ted Cruz. He literally said he would only do it if just to get on the stage with Ted. Tucker Carlson is neither qualified nor capable of running for president. Do you all realize the comments that he's made? The stuff he said about January 6th? His Fox News highlight reel? Please. Tucker Carlson is Donald Trump without the charm. Damn! Tucker Carlson is Donald Trump without the charm. If Donald Trump lost his charm and personability, he would be Tucker Carlson. So if you want a newscaster, Tucker's your man. If you want somebody personable and to like, it's not Tucker. By the way, folks, have you heard Tucker laugh? What? Damn! Auntie, chill! People, you think Kamala Harris is bad? Have y'all heard Tucker Carlson laughing? Can you imagine the internet putting together his laugh reel? I mean, not only does he not seem sincere, he's so over the damn top, he makes Jeff Bezos laughing sound pleasant. Folks, no. Not a chance. Not a chance. No, not no, but hell no. No. Okay, we just kind of entered the wacky phase where, people are they're throwing out names and they're wondering and they're just kind of getting desperate and if maybe this person will. And what that means is you've lost leadership, which is my entire point about tonight. If the right, if MAGA, if the white supremacist extremists had real leadership, you wouldn't be doing things like this. If they actually had a plan and a mission and an agenda and any leadership, this would not be happening. You're doing this precisely because there is no leadership. There's no leadership, there's no plan, there's no agenda, there's no nothing. That's why this is happening. So you're reduced to trolling, and Twitter is not where you win elections. You're reduced to trolling. And everything you do is reminding people why they despise you. And you think that people are just going to go a little bit away from Trump when they have a chance to select the next president. America isn't going to just correct 5 degrees to the left. America is going to say anything and everything Trump was, we want the exact opposite. That's what's going to happen. Somebody said JD and Candace.
Oh, please.
No. Candace Owens, it's just when she starts talking about the spaceships. People, when Candace Owens starts talking about the spaceships and starts dissing Erica Kirk, You don't want this. No. She's great on YouTube for entertainment. If you want to lose an election, let Candace do the talking. Y'all, when she starts talking about the spaceships and the secret planes and the what is that? The secret schools. Oh, she's way past the Epstein class, y'all. She's like, there's a whole bunch of secret schools out there. Remember the X-Men School for Gifted Youngsters? She literally said this, people.
Nigga, what?
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, she literally said that her and Charlie Kirk, since they were children, that Charlie Kirk was special and there were people watching him and that he was like in a school for gifted youngsters like the X-Men. She literally said like the X-Men. Y'all, please. I know Donald Trump has fooled a lot of folk into thinking that entertainers can just all be politicians now. Please don't let that fool you. When Candace Owens starts, and by the way, y'all know she gonna stand on it. Oh, Candace isn't gonna back off of it. She's gonna stand by it. She's gonna stand by it. Yeah, some folk in here like, Jason, what? Are you serious? Did she really do? Yes, she really said that. Don't believe me. Google it. YouTube it. She literally said that her and Charlie Kirk were special kids in school. And that especially Charlie Kirk, why, he was like, the schools he was at, she now believes it was like the X-Men, like school for gifted youngsters. Man, you don't want to see that get cut up into a clip? With all the rest of the stuff she done said? Y'all, no. I know some of y'all don't keep up with it, and that's fine. That's what you have me for. I'm just letting you know. It's like, yeah, Alex Jones is an upgrade. You thought Alex Jones was bad. Wait till she gets up there and says that Emmanuel Macron's wife is a man. What? Damn! Wait till she gets up there and says that, and I'm just like, y'all do realize she's one X-ray away from being sued into oblivion. You thought Alex Jones' lawsuit was bad. Brigitte Macron is a man. It's like, okay, all right, well. And watch when she sits there in front of y'all and stand on it. Now, the only thing that's saving her is they have not put out an X-ray of Miss Macron. So that's the only thing dragging this out. The only thing dragging this out is they have not put out an X-ray of Miss Macron. So they need to hurry up and go ahead and do that. But if they ever do, yeah. But by the way, even if she, because she wasn't the one who originally promoted that, some French journalists did. But man, oh, she's way past that, y'all. Oh no, schools for gifted youngsters and UFOs and Men in Black and I mean, it's just everybody. So, and wait till we get her back to talking about George Floyd. What? Oh, and Daniel Holtzclaw. Damn. Hey, folks, wait till we get her back to talking about Daniel Holtzclaw. And that she lobbied to get him out of jail after he was convicted of raping all them women. You know she gonna stand on that too, right? Just in case you all think this is gonna be easy, when she gets to stand up for that, you know she's gonna stand 10 toes down, right? You know she's not gonna back off of it, right? When they start asking her about that, do you still stand by Daniel Holtzclaw? She's gonna, yes, absolutely. The media lied on him. Y'all remember Ben Shapiro's boys when he started talking crap to Michael Knowles? I showed y'all that's gonna be all her supporters. Yes, absolutely. I mean, the media is wrong about that. That's the problem right there. All those women, that's wrong. He needs to be released here. The media, that's what you people do. You people lie about that. You just make things up. Okay. Who in here remembers Mrs. Kravitz? What? I'm not talking about the wife of Lenny Kravitz. Who in here remembers Mrs. Kravitz? Who in here remembers their old television? Oh boy. It's only going to be for those of you half a century or older who remember Bewitched. But y'all remember Mrs. Kravitz? If Mrs. Kravitz had a YouTube program, she would be Candace Owens. Somebody here said Lisa Bonet. No, it's Mrs. Kravitz from the TV show Bewitched. Don't worry, you can go to YouTube and watch it for about 3 minutes and you'll see exactly what the hell I'm talking about. If Mrs. Kravitz had a YouTube program, she would be Candace Owens. I mean, she'll believe in it. Folks, oh yeah, one more thing. To the person who said that Tucker Carlson might run for president, people. Folks, my audience around the world, I just remembered. You know what? I cannot do this without a visual aid. I just can't. I can't. I got to get a visual aid for y'all. Let me go ahead and throw this up in here for y'all just to remind you. Anybody remember this?
Damn!
For those of you who are chomping at the bit to see Tucker Carlson run for the presidency, if you thought some of the beliefs of the Zionists were crazy, does anybody remember this? Because I just now remembered it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. I seem to remember one more thing. Can't wait for this to hit the debate stage. Damn! You all think you've seen some crazy debates in your life? You think you've seen some awkward, off-the-wall debates in your life? Wait till this one hits. Yes, sir. Wait till Tucker Carlson recycles the story about the night, one of the nights. Remember, he says there's been more than one incident. Remember, he says there's been more than one incident. So, yeah, can't wait for that, huh? Can y'all imagine that debate? When they start questioning him about damn me, Harry Potter and the creature from Mount Doom, and when he starts telling you, yes, that actually happened, that's a very real thing. All right, now let's discuss your taxes. Yes, I believe in lower taxes and school choice, and I believe in demon assault. No, we should get out of Iran. We should get no more Iran, no more DEI. We need to protect our people from all these minorities and all these Muslims and all these Zionists and from all these demons. That's really, folks. Yes. I mean, not just wrestling, y'all. He said the demon was on his back all the way to the backyard. What? Remember? He said him and the demon was fighting, and he had to run all the way to the backyard before the demon let him go. Okay. You think I'm worried about this guy running for president? You think I'm worried about that when I know what they gonna say? Because when he gets asked about it, he's not gonna back down. Jason, the Overton window is moved. Listen to me, nigga. This is not moving the Overton window. This is carving that damn thing out and throwing it in the yard. No, Wait till he starts telling you all his tales of being attacked by a demon. And then when he tells you it's not the first one. Wait till that one happens. And I said that because I'm like, by the way, you do know Candace Owens has said similar stuff, right? I've had dreams. Don't question my dreams. All right, Mrs. Kravitz. I see things. I see things. When I see things, that's the real problem right there. I see things. I knew these things were coming. I knew it was coming. I knew it. I see things. Yes, there are demons. Yes, there are demons, and there are trolls, and there are orcs, and there are hobbits, and the rest of you need to understand that they're covering them all up. They have the hobbits right next to the UFOs at Area 51.
Oh, please.
Oh, some of you think that Jason is just being silly right now and that Jason is just trolling on. No, I'm serious. Candace Owens believes all this stuff is at Area 51. Yes, she believes in it. Y'all, in case you didn't know, Tucker has done programs basically talking about the Nephilim. So he's like, okay, there's giants out there. I'm like, okay. All right. So believe me, people, this gets a whole lot worse. You thought Trump was zany. Wait till President Tucker Carlson hits the Oval Office. Is that a disability? Does that qualify as a disability? If you're under chronic demon attack, does that qualify as a disability? I want to know. Because Tucker Carlson will tell you that all these disabilities we have are useless. But by the way, y'all, would that qualify as a disability if you have a habit of being attacked by demons? Like the Michael Keaton movie White Noise. Is that a disability? Like, can you get FMLA for that? So yeah, folks, and Jason, Tucker might run. Boy, I hope he does. I need the content. Damn! Boy, I hope Tucker does run. I can use that content. Folks, it'll be epic. It will be epic. People, I will contribute to his campaign. Please get him on national television. Please. Oh, and Candace as his VP, there's the ticket. That's the ticket right there. Candace, Carlson Candace. Double C's. Yes, sir. Because J.D. Vance and Donald Trump were not unhinged and crazy enough. Crazy, cuckoo, Carlson, Candace. Vote November 4th. That's right. America is doomed if you don't vote for the guy who says he's attacked by demons and the girl who says she's from the X-Men School for Gifted Youngsters. People, the country's already over. All we're doing right now is just watching the whole damn thing slide. It's already done at this point right here. We're just going to keep posting YouTube videos, I guess, until it's over. You know, just until the lights go out. I guess that's all we're all really waiting on now is for the lights to go out. But yeah, we made it this far along here. It's already a wrap. It's already done. Still want my reparations. Still going to get that. But yeah, it's a wrap. It is a wrap, people. I mean, those are your two biggest folk on YouTube, your two biggest political podcasters, Carlson and Candace. And both of them talking about demons and UFOs and trolls and hobbits, demon possession, the damn me X-Men, like this is Disney Plus. MK Ultra. Oh, I got to throw that one in there now. Candace Owens, by the way, MK Ultra. It's like, all right. All right, some of the parts is one thing. When she gets running with him, like, wait a minute, girl, come back down. Because she goes everywhere. She will tell you all this. Telekinesis. Telekinesis. You know they have their seances. That's what they're doing. The Super Hadron Collider, telekinesis. So just mark my words, people. This will not be nearly as entertaining as you tell yourself it'll be. It really won't. If we're lucky, we'll get Candace and Carlson. If we're not as lucky, we'll get DeSantis. If we are not as lucky, we'll get DeSantis. And I can only imagine what that will be like. However, whatever it is, we will be here for it, and we will be covering it the entire time. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. So click that subscribe button and that notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to blackchannelfilms.com, make sure you go and check out our groundbreaking, best-selling documentary work. I want to thank all of you for tuning in a nice program, live or recorded. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.